Hi, friends. Welcome to Take Three Talks. I'm Steffi, and I'm going to be your host. And today I have the biggest pleasure to talk to my friend and just an artist I admire out in the world, Ashley from Tracing Thought. So you can now speak.
Hi guys, I'm Ashley.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy that you're here. I know that we've been like planning this catch up for so long, and
Yeah.
I feel like it was meant to be right at this moment, and that is why we're here right now because I was looking at your website and I am not kidding. Like, we released your website around in February, but 3 years ago.
God, yeah, like forever ago.
And I am in love still.
hmm
And
hmm
the way that you just told me your story, I re-signed up to your newsletter because I was like, oh my gosh, like I admire her so much. I love all the updates you've made to your about page and like the story and like I just love seeing the way you use your blog and I love the way seeing you like oh, I just don't know. I just makes me so proud and so happy
Oh,
and like seeing all those photos in the about carousel, like I wanted to cry because I like not only remember how it was building it, but then I remember like how it was such a long time ago and like so many lives have happened since.
oh yeah.
And I just want to get into everything with you. And I know I literally made this into checklist so that I don't forget to like get into the points that we had mentioned because I'm the
Yeah.
queen of it off tangents. But I want you to introduce yourself a little bit in the business side. So like
Okay.
introduce yourself as like the Tracing Thought creator and just like a little bit of a blurb, let's call it.
Okay.
Because we're gonna get into the deeper things later, but
Mhm.
just in case people are not gonna stay for like all the 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever it is that we end up chatting for.
Yeah.
I really want people to get a little mini blurb into Ashley from Tracing Thought, and then we'll talk how you and I met and who's Ashley, and we go into my questions and thought
Okay.
starters. Okay, does
Okay.
that work for
Good.
you?
Yeah, that sounds good. It's
Okay.
hard. It's so hard with you and me and June because we know each other as friends first and then business second. And it's like, it's like we have to separate like 50-50. Like, what are we doing here and what are we doing here?
No,
So,
100%. And
yeah.
I just want you to succeed so much that I just want everybody to like know Tracing Thought and like just the stories you're telling. I am not kidding. Like I'm like a new fan, even though I've been a fan for so long, just because I was just reading so much on your website and about you, and I know how much work you put into everything. So I want you
Thank
to
you.
tell us.
Yeah, okay. So I love my website as well. I just have to like make sure everyone knows that it is amazing and I wish I could spend more time on it. And then every time I go to spend time on it, I end up being on there for like 48 hours, like 2 days of work because I'm just like so invested. And then it takes away from my editing time, which by the way, so I'm Ashley. I'm the owner and founder of Tracing Thought, which has warped. It started somewhere, and it's gone and moved into this totally blossoming flower of documentary films. So now it's a production company, Tracing Thought Productions, and I produce documentary films from all over the world. Specifically, right now, I'm working in Greenland and Borneo with indigenous communities, helping them figure out how to get their voice out there against corrupt power, like monoculture farming, their land being destroyed and taken over without their permission. So there's all these stories, and I think that either they don't have the resources to get their stories heard, or they just feel so defeated because their lives are changing and they're just really trying to survive. So all of my films are completely crowdfunded. So they're completely donation based, and that's where Patreon comes in. And then sometimes for big films, like my latest in Greenland, there was a big Kickstarter campaign launched for that, and we raised over $50,000, which was amazing. That was the biggest campaign we had done yet. Yeah, thank you. And that was so cool. And so if you ever want to just donate to one story, that I do that as well. If like you're passionate about a story that I'm trying to be like shown or heard, I just work personally with everyone, and I want everyone to feel like when they are donating or helping with Tracing Thought that like their money is going somewhere really important. And I like to talk that through with all my patrons.
I love that. Oh my God, I already have so many questions. I want you to tell us the producer side of things. Like how does that, like if for somebody who doesn't know like what a producer does, like, oh, I'm a producer, I'm TracingThought Productions. Like, just can you give us like, like the super basic non-person that doesn't understand maybe production and film and creative, just give us a little bit.
For sure. Usually there's a producer, and then there's like a director and a cinematographer. There's all these different people a part of making a film. I am all of those people in one person. So I don't have, I don't have 15 films going on in a year. Like my one film will probably take 2 to 3 years to finish, which I was pumping them out on YouTube very quickly. I was trying to get out these mini little films like twice a month. And it took a lot for me to realize like that wasn't emotionally and physically possible for me to like be sustaining as a human and still having relationships. Yeah. Impossible to be doing what I was trying to do without a team. I was trying to be like Vice News by myself, So I've realized that I really did want to make them bigger, and so I'm working in feature films now. So they are bigger projects, more money, and wonderful donors came along to be able to start working on that. And so a producer is someone that finds the money to make a film. It could be in, feature films or like a Hollywood film or whatever. And then a director is someone who is like basically directing and figuring out what this story is that we're telling, which is also what I do. And then a cinematographer is your person who is behind the camera. They're your DP, they're your camera woman, and then I go. So I do those first two things usually on the home front here in America, and then I go to the country for an extended period of time and live with the community and film the documentary. And then I come home and edit it.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible.
It's fun.
You are a machine.
Thank you.
Creative machine with a whole heart. And I love that you mentioned the sustainability aspect, because I think that before the pandemic hit, or even through the pandemic, maybe a little bit, we all had this very unsustainable idea of what it meant to thrive and live in a digital first world.
Yeah.
And that burnout and that creative burnout, like, Jesus Christ, like feeling like your soul has actually left your body, because as creative people, like, does that creative burnout is just like something that I don't wish upon anybody. And I think it is I think it is like the only way of succeedingly kind of getting out of that hole is by stopping, and just creating that fucking boundary and just being real with yourself and just being like, hello, welcome back.
Yeah, good luck with that, because being real and stopping they're so impossible for people who are creatively thriving, trying to make money, trying to like see their dream like happen, not working this 9 to 5 where they get a guaranteed paycheck. So you're like you think that by hustling so hard is the only way you are going to survive, because that's kind of like what we were taught since we were kids as an artist. Like to be an artist, you have to like do way more. You have to be a bartender at night, a waitress in the morning, and then maybe you do your artistic show in the evening. Like that's the only way.
It's that. Yeah, exactly. But I wanna know how the decision of stopping YouTube, the bi-monthly, to actual bigger productions that you could give our soul and like give time and like watch grow like little plants, right? You went from like almost like I don't know, buying a bunch of like cactuses at Costco to like, okay, just I'm gonna do this one plant and like watch it grow, and like, you know what, like we don't need to do all of the things like at the same time to also be successful, and maybe pivot that dream ish a little bit. How did that come to be? Because we met like let's say the last time we businessly met, we were making a website for a YouTube
Yeah.
driven, let's say, experience of sorts. Let's
Yeah.
just call it
Yeah.
that way. Just because of all of like the embedding and whatever. So I just want to know a little bit of those details, and then we'll go into how we know each other.
Okay. Yeah, good analogy because yeah, you buy the big flower and you're watching it grow and then eventually you can propagate it, right? So like it will just grow its own little and then they'll turn into big flowers, but like it's important to get that one big flower sometimes instead of just a bunch of little ones. Quality over quantity, like is kind of what I've decided to go for.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the short answer. Actually, that is the answer, actually. Like, I said it, I'm like, no, that's long story short, it was quality over quantity. I didn't like the quality I was putting out. I didn't like how stressed I was. And so naturally, I had to go through like the billions of crying sessions, complaining to my friends, like, I just need a partner that wants to do this with me. I just need one other person who wants to do this with me. I mean, I was like trying to get anyone who was like had a passion for photography or videography to get on board with me and like help me with tracing thought and make it into something. And just no one had the same vision as me or really wanted to get involved, which like, you know, I was just trying to find, like, I was just trying to hopefully be very hopeful there. And but then I realized, okay, it's just going to be me and I want to do quality and I want to make something that's really, really, truly magical. Like you said, an experience. And yeah, a lot of crying, a lot of like frustration, and then realizing, okay, Ashley, just slow the frick down. Like just slow down.
Yeah. Slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I admire you so much for that.
Thanks. Y'all are so good at that. Like really being in tune and just doing what you're supposed to be doing and not fighting your body all the time, you know?
Listen, like it got to the point, November 2021, Megan was sleeping on the floor in
Yeah.
this apartment that we were Airbnb-ing, that we had to have to Airbnb because the pandemic hit. And we had like, our plan was to like live in our car for like, because you guys inspired part of this dream, right? Like when you guys like, we'll get into the
Yeah.
nitty-gritty, but just so November 2021, like our relationship was like almost in shambles. Like I was like, oh my God, what the fuck did I do? Like I left my dream in New York. I am now here in like the country where trauma was made and created, and I never thought I would be here. Like I knew I was gonna be a warrior, but like, hello, like I don't need to like, survive like
Yeah.
continuously. I just want to live my life. And Maiden was like literally just watching, that series on Netflix, like 300 or like, I don't know, Vikings. I don't know. One of those like
Yeah.
really bloody, like Maiden is probably like squirming and listening to this part of the episode. You're like, it's this.
I watched them too, me June, don't worry.
And he was just like watching like literally like those, and we were playing video games like this like it was like Dynasty Warriors, I think, and you're like supposed to like, like you're like win over places and you like kill people and whatever. Like
Yeah.
we were in a dark space. And
I love that this is your definition of a dark space.
we could, I know. We like couldn't do that. It didn't used to be me. Like that was me. Now I'm like, oh my God, like that seems like very low energy for my anxiety.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
But like, yeah, so it was like that's when we, with lots of frustration and so much like crying and like all of the things that you're mentioning, like we were like, okay, like what does this look like as a business? Like Jesus, like how are we going to actually make money for a living doing this forever?
Mm-hmm.
If that's our plan, while also having a relationship, while also having an individual relationship to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I remember because I was doing I was a part of the university when I was in Guatemala, and that was around the same time, I think, because when we were doing our meetups, you guys were like saying the same thing to me. Like I was really frustrated in Guatemala. I was there to make a documentary about bananas, like the corrupt world of the bananas and exporting.
Yes.
And I was it wasn't going my way, and I was very frustrated, and I wasn't making any money. And at that time, I had an assistant, aka an angel, named Liana, who was helping me every month, and I was paying her. And I was just like, I can't keep this up, and I'm not making enough money. And I remember you two looked at me in our call and were like, that is what I think y'all were like figuring it out too, or y'all just had figured out like you have to make money doing this, and that needs to be like the first thing you figure out, and then everything else after that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's I think that was the one thing that we figured out really early because of the way we were both raised, I think. Major and I, when we had that conversation in Seattle in 2019, like part of the conversations that we had where Major was like, how the fuck are we gonna make money out of this? Like you gotta like pitch me this like business thing. Like this needs to be an actual thing. Like we're not just gonna live off our savings. Like what are you thinking here?
Right. Yeah.
And part of it was like, okay, like what does this really look like, right? Like how do we make money out of this? And I think once we got like the ground running, we both are really big savers. We're not really big spenders. And we both kind of like, if we need to like, just tuna and rice, like canned tuna and rice, or like lentils and rice. And like, you just gotta like kind of like lay low on the budget. Like we can do that.
Yeah.
So I think that something that helped us, that when we needed to take that stop and we were like, okay, we can't, something needs to give here. And in order for creativity to come back, we need to stop. And we started couples therapy, and then we stopped taking on clients. We finished, the last project was in November. Yeah, the end of November was when we released Café La Llama. And then like we stopped taking in new students for Take 3 Uni until again the next year, like May. And again, it was like very little. And then we started to whittle down our students because we were like, okay, less quality over quantity, right? Like we had a lot of students, but then it wasn't a lot of money that side of the business was making, and a lot of energy was being put into that side of the business, kind of like the YouTube, right? So, you were putting a lot of money because time is money, creativity is money, because whatever it takes to create those YouTubes, like the stress, like the actual like health, investment, like that costs a lot of money. So you need to be like, okay, what is worth what? And like, I need to like get my priorities in check so that this can actually like be a business where we make money, we thrive, and we know like, okay, what is the plan of action in order to get more money? What is the plan of action in order to get more time off, whatever it is. But having that always like business saving idea, I think, like not big spenders, has helped us to have that cushion to be able to stop. So I really think Stephanie and Major from the past, like they were very smart.
Yeah, for sure. You're not even like mentioning which the giant like boulder that just like wrecked all of our lives, COVID, because like my patrons and Patreon was fully sustaining me up until COVID hit in the first 6 months, when those emails started rolling and like, I'm sorry, I don't have that extra cash anymore to donate every month, to your films. Like that is a huge factor of why I shifted everything and went through all of those emotional like changes with Tracing Thought. I was like, I need, and that's not saying that right now I make all my money off of documentaries. Since we're on the subject, like I don't anymore at all. Like I have to work other jobs and, commercial gigs and stuff. And that's just is what it is until one of these documentaries makes it to the Oscars, and then that'll be the day.
It will. Yeah. From your mouth to God's ears, it will. I'm not like, religious or anything, but it will.
That's what I'm saying. Yep.
Yes. So, okay. Now that we've gone on a tangent, when I said that I had a plan, I'm obsessed. I want to ask you, okay, no, let's give you people like just like the download of how we know each other. So we went to the same university, the same college, the same art school. We went to Pratt, and you studied photography and film. What was your major?
Photography, and then minored in film.
Amazing. And then where are you from?
I'm originally from Texas, born in Louisiana, Southern girl all around.
Oh, I love it. And for those of you who are not watching this in any sort of video format, Ashlei is a most beautiful redheaded woman you're ever going to meet.
God.
I swear. I'm not kidding. Like when I first met her in like 2013, when we
Mhm.
met. Oh, it's been 10 years. It's
Yeah.
2023. Oh my god,
Oh
this is
my God, that's so
insane. This is
cool.
cute.
That makes
So
me so happy.
yeah, we met. Yeah, that's awesome. So we met in college a long time ago. So we've seen each other grow a little bit. We were also in the same sorority, art
Mhm.
school sorority. Those were like very different than South sororities.
Yeah, for sure. And I just don't even like to mention that we were in that. I'm like, is Stephanie doing a
Why?
class or something?
I
Because
love it. I
oh my
love it.
God,
I love
the
it. It's like a dirty little secret, you know? It's like one
Mhm.
of those things that you like do. But I
Yeah,
think it was cute. I think it was cute. I love
learned
meeting
a
you. And
lot.
I think that I was thinking I've thought about it a lot. Like the most fruitful relationships and like friendships I have until now are come from that space.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
Major and I's really relationship like got closer because of, you know,
Oh,
those
it's
spaces, I
true.
guess. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I really do like that. So I think that's great. But that's how we met, and
Mhm.
that's kind of how we got to working together. And
Yeah.
then now we're here. So that's like the
Yeah.
download for the people. Any other details you'd like to give them?
That's the short version. We have definitely been
Yes.
just like, yeah, we've never had like a huge break of not talking to each other. Like you're one of the
No.
people that I just totally kept up with since college though, which I think is really cool. Like if someone said like, what have Stephanie and May June been up to the past 10 years? Like I could literally tell them like exactly what's been going on. But it's also because y'all are so good at putting everything out there and like making everyone feel like they're along for your ride, which is beautiful.
Thank you. We try because
Yeah.
we would love to see those Maiden and Steffies through the
Mhm.
years as we grow old. And that's why we try to like actually share as we would love to consume. Because it's fun to like share with the people you love, kind of. And like, I guess if somebody follows you on social media, hopefully they don't hate follow you. They love you, you know, a little bit and they
Yeah.
appreciate you. So
Yeah.
it's fun to share these stories with people and like share as you grow. But um yeah, and like and Juliana, like I still talk to her. She's also in the community.
I do too.
She's in
Yeah.
TT Uni right now.
Oh,
Um
fun.
I know she's
She's doing
amazing.
yoga.
Julia too. Julia Merriweather.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
I know, breaking through productions there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they're in the community now. That's cute.
That's so
So yeah,
cool.
those are some like circles of people that, like I guess I've kept up with in a
Yeah.
way. But I want to ask you how you are right now, and where are you in the world are you right now? So give us a little bit of a description.
Do I get to do the 1 through 10 rating like you do with me, June?
Yes, of course. Do it. We did it with our therapist today.
I like it so much. I do it on this like app that I love that I meal plan and stuff on, and then it always asks you like, how are you doing? And it's like my favorite part of the morning just to click like, what'd you wake up as, you know?
Oh my God, I love this. What app is this?
Her name is Pamela Reeve. She's a German like fitness gal, and she has the best app.
Emma
It's
Reef. Okay, I'll put it in the
yeah,
notes
her app
so
is.
people can find her. Okay.
hmm And I would say this is a really nice day. We're in Southern California generically like all the time, but right now we're in Ventura because we're getting some stuff done with the van. So I'm a little stressed out. So I'm a 7.
That's okay. 7 is
Yeah,
good.
7
Yeah,
is
I'm
good. Like
happy.
4 of those points are the fact that we're doing this right now.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I'm part of your little happiness bubble.
Yeah,
I know.
definitely.
I'm really happy. I'm a lot happier today that I'm talking to you. I was like, I didn't even remember. I was like, literally this morning I woke up, I was making like breakfast. I was making my grandpa's favorite for Valentine's Day.
Mm.
And then Major and I were like, oh, let's just like go lay down and watch an episode of Love Island. And then one episode turned into 3 and I took a nap. And then I woke up and I was like, it was like 12. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. Like, you know, like what an awesome day. It's kind of like a Sunday. I think I'm gonna like work from bed. And then Major is like, don't you have a podcast recording at 5:30? And I go, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, you're right. I'm like, that's true. I'm like,
That's
you're right.
hilarious. Yeah,
It's so
I did
funny because he has ceramics. So I was like, oh, he's going to ceramics. I'll just chill. I like
Mhm.
forgot to look at the calendar. And I would have received the notification. And then I was like, oh my God, okay, thank God Steffi from the past already took notes. She already planned
Yeah.
what we are gonna say and do.
Mhm.
But I am so happy that you're a 7 and I'm part of your little happiness bubble. You're my happiness bubble today.
Yeah, good.
And yeah, tell me.
No, I just wanted to mention you're not forgettable or anything, but I just don't know what this was. It was so casual. I feel like it's just such a easy thing for us to do. It's nothing we have to stress out about because I also forgot about it. We needed to take the van in today, and they were like, "Oh, okay, can you come around at 1?" And they called us this morning, and I was like, "I can't go in today. I need I need to be in a podcast at 2:30." I did the same thing.
Literally.
Yeah.
I It's just it happens sometimes. Like you're like scheduling adult personal life things and you also have like business things in the same day. And sometimes they just like me and you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll just put
Yeah.
another hat on. Like,
Mhm.
let's just
Yeah.
like switch on the hats. Today
Mhm.
I'm like creative Ashley
Yeah.
and also producer Ashley. So think
Right.
about the business tips.
Slash friend Ashley.
I know, best friend Ashley. I love it. I want to ask you, how is van life, or like how is like having a van, like especially now you have like van things, because that's what most van people say is like having a van is being in the van, like in the mechanic and like dealing with van things
Yeah.
outside of like the magical bubble things. But I just want to ask you, how's the van and like how you guys came to this decision and like I don't know, I'm like so jelly.
Yeah, so I live in a conversion van, and as I mentioned, I'm in Southern California, which is like quote my home base. Before I was traveling completely full time, making documentaries. But pre-COVID, COVID hit. I had to run back to the States. Got really dramatic really fast. Like had nowhere to live, you know. Thank God I have a husband because he like rushed and found us an apartment literally day of lockdown with his friend, and that was just a miracle. Like literally they like the guy wouldn't even hand them the keys to like, drop them in some random mailbox somewhere or something because he like because rumors were starting to go around that it was a disease, you know, and so they had to go pick up the keys and then just walked into this new apartment. Like I wasn't even home yet. I was in Nepal. I had to get evacuated. So life was stressful and weird and changing too fast, like and just not what I had planned. So we like moved into this apartment. I was staying still for the first time in many years. I mean, I was full-time traveling for like the 3 years before that. So being that still drove me absolutely bananas. I was losing my mind, like losing my mind. I became a fitness nut and I was just doing workouts in my bedroom all the time. Like I got so fit. I mean, and I'm not one to like really do that, but like I just needed to move. So I was like really going crazy. And then I was like, Tyler, I can't do this anymore. You know, it was hard on us because we were trying to both figure out our lives in the middle of COVID. It was hard on a lot of people. It was just hard. And as I said, money left and dreams were changing. So we just moved into our Forerunner. I was like, please. I left to Guatemala to try to film. It didn't, like I mentioned, it didn't go as planned about the bananas. Came back home and I was, please, can we just please, when the lease is up, like live out of our Forerunner? Can I just on the road for a couple of months? I'm like, please, can we do it? I need it. I'm like, we're not making enough money to really stay in this apartment anyways. I'm like, so let's just go live out of our car and like feel like we're in our 20s, you know, and just do the damn thing. And he was like, okay, let's do it. And so we did it. And then it naturally just made us realize for Tyler too, because he was traveling full time back in the day with me, that we really, really, really miss this part of our lifestyle. We really missed being on the road, feeling like we were seeing something new every day, meeting new people all the time, and just like we got so much more out of life than being in an apartment or like a neighborhood, you know, even. We just feel ourselves when we're like fully adventurous all the time. So we learned that's when we didn't really know about van life. Like we knew about it, but like nothing more than 1 degree of knowing about it. And so we did a deep dive, and then we started going to van shows, kind of like RV shows when they like line up a bunch of vans and you can just go
Oh
check
my
out.
God.
Yeah. It's so much fun. You meet all the van lifers. You meet everyone like walking around like, yeah, join our group, join this club. You know, it's like the most amazing vibes of just adventurers, travelers, like outdoors people, all creatives, like 99% creatives, all working on the road remotely. And they just kind of like, we just talked to them about how possible it is. And Tyler and I were already sold like a month before that. So we were like extra sold once we went to the van show. We found a builder. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, so this is just like buying a house. We just got to get a loan. And as creatives, thank God we had really great parents growing up that helped us build credit scores. Like one of the luckiest things you could ever do for your kid, I feel like putting that out there for anyone listening, like, is to help your children build credit scores at a very young age, because our awful system is just too reliant on that, And we managed to get a loan and figure this whole thing out. And now it's just everything fell into place. Like, how wild is that? It's perfect. It's exactly what we always wanted it to be.
I'm so happy. And how was the? I hear a little bit of echo. Wait.
Oh.
Okay. No, that's good. How was the like building process and like choosing, like for us in our house, like that was really stressful. Like I can't even compare it. Like I wish our dream was like our next step would have been van life, really, if life would have happened.
Yeah.
But like how was it, like, like, I don't know, picking finishes, or like did you guys, like, you told me you guys worked with like a builder, like did the builder design it? Did you guys give it like I don't know, like, we want a nook for it to be like work and breakfast and whatever, and we like these colors, like, I don't know, just like for like the design little HGTV nerds like me, like how was
Yeah.
the little process, tiny home process?
Oh my God, it was amazing. It was so okay. It was 50% amazing, so much fun to design. I really love doing that stuff. And 50% like extremely stressful. So the builder would not design anything. They wouldn't design one bit of it. Like they wouldn't even make a simple decision. We had to make every single decision, just like building a house. So basically you're given this tiny little space and they're like, you figure it out, we just build it. But we went with this builder because I'm a very eco-conscious person, or try to be as much as I possibly can. And so all of our wood is refurbished from like water towers and really cool places around America. And he collects them and then makes them resourceful again back into the vans. And then we're completely run on solar. So we're a totally eco-friendly van. Our stove, our refrigerator, all of our electronics are run off of solar, which is really fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was really fun. So like the nook I'm sitting in is our workspace for the most part, but it also turns into a bed if we have a guest. Like
Yeah.
we did a lot of research. We really wanted this to be our forever home for forever, not forever, but like, 10
Yeah.
years minimum at least. And like our bed is super nifty. It turns into a couch both ways, so you can open the doors in the back. But like I just posted a full van tour on my Patreon page. So if you want to like know, I post on my Patreon not just behind the scenes of documentary filmmaking and going on my trips, but like also my personal things. And I'm going to get even more and more personal in the upcoming months. I have some plans. So
Oh my gosh.
if you want to see my vans, if you want to see, like, I'm going to start, you know what? I'm not going to give away too much, but there's a lot of really good stuff coming on Patreon. And if you
Okay,
want
just tell us one more thing.
I'm going to be starting to do like interviews, such as kind of like podcasts, but just chatting with people abroad, like my brothers and sisters in Borneo, and talking about their lifestyles and stuff on Patreon.
Oh, that's amazing. I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
if you want to know
Wow.
just more, it's just
And
getting.
tell us what the commitment tiers kind of look like, or if somebody doesn't know what Patreon looks like or what it is, maybe can you give us a little bit of a download? And if they don't want to necessarily like, commit to a Patreon, is there another way for them to donate like directly to you? What does that look like too?
Yeah, patreon.com/TracingThought is mine. And once you go to that website, you can see that there's like different tiers. There's $2, $5, 10, 25, and then it goes up to 200. And then after $2, so starting at $5, you'll get videos. And then the higher the tier, the more you'll get. I even send out like some merch on some tiers. I do personal chats with people. Yeah, there's all different kinds of things. Oh, I have guides to countries I've visited to. They're kind of more vacation guides that I notice things when I'm there. There's like tourists and stuff going to certain restaurants, going to certain Airbnbs and stuff, and I write those things down so I can show my patrons that stuff, because they're not going to obviously be traveling to a country to film a documentary. They're going to go for enjoyment. So I try to help them
Of
out a little
course.
bit. Yeah. And
Yeah.
on Patreon, I literally just chat like I'm an open book. So
Mm.
it's really fun on Patreon. And it's really easy to stop donating on Patreon too. So you can donate for a couple of months and then go and just literally press cancel membership, and no hard feelings. Like, I'm appreciative if you just want to do it for a month and check things out and then get off. And if you don't want to do that because you don't like memberships like most people, then you can just go to my website, TracingThought.com. And there's a way to just literally donate on there, and it goes straight to my Stripe account. So I will email you or message you, whatever you give me the information to. And I will say, thank you so much for the donation. Or what are you looking to donate towards? Is it towards a specific documentary or my work as a whole? And you can let me know, and I will send you some merch in return. So
That's amazing. I
yeah.
love that. Wow, that's awesome. Um, so I think you need to move your mic just a little bit. I think your mic is next to the speaker, and I'm hearing myself.
Is that it? Let me see.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's
Okay,
it.
okay. Is it better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good.
Yeah, I can still hear you perfect. Okay, now I want you to tell us 3 things that you have learned from your travels that you always keep in like your mind and your heart everywhere you go. Yeah, 3.
I hate you for saying 3, Steffi. 3. I was like, that's so many. It's so hard. I have them written down on my phone. It didn't seem hard when we talked about the questions and we were emailing, and then I went back to like answer the questions in my brain, and I was like, 3. Okay. The first one. So 3 things I wanted to make jokes and be like, well, I always carry a knife, but you said the things I keep in my mind and heart.
I love that. So
Yeah.
tricky.
First thing I was like, knife, duh. But so I'm always remembering when I travel. This is thankfully a very natural thing for me, but basically like all the customs and traditions that I know and love from being a child or growing up in America like completely disappear when I'm abroad. They just like fly away. I like just have to not even think about them, because that's how you become a chameleon and you adapt to someone's lifestyle. The easiest, in my opinion, is just like pretending that you are an open, like, or you're a blank page. There's nothing on you. There's nothing like for you to judge off of. Like, you need to go in with just no judgment, no anything. Like, you're there to learn and you adapt and you just see how you can help. And that, if that's in the kitchen, if that's like while you're filming, if that's like, with chores around the house and the family's home you're staying in, like completely adapting and not assuming anything. Because even like something as simple as sweeping can be totally different in a different country, like how they do it or how they like it or how often they do it. Like, because in Asia, it's like 10 times a day. You're sweeping 24/7. Someone is always sweeping the house. So,
Yeah. Wait, no, this is insane. This is something I really learned
mm-hmm.
when Meijun's parents moved in with us basically for that month and a half when they came to visit. And then that month and a half before that, I moved in with them in their home in Jamaica. So it was like 3 months of like being like exposed culturally in a way that I never thought I would, because they don't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So and the little patois that they speak is like very little, and patois is not English. As Major would say, it's English. It's not English. It's actually very difficult to understand, I feel personally. Especially when it's been spoken by like natives and they're just having conversations. You're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so fast. So that was like really huge. Like when they came to my house and they were like, all they wanted to do was sweep. Like in my culture, like guests don't do chores. Like,
Yeah.
and if you're like doing a chore, it doesn't mean that my house is dirty. Like, I was like, it was hardcore. And like, even like the first time I went to Asian's house, like, or the way like we would eat, or like how we would eat, or how it was served, or just like small things that you never think that you notice until you're literally just like this little chameleon from like the outside. But I think that you're of course much better at being a chameleon. I was like, I still had like all of my cultures, and like of course you go from like, also when you go into documentary, you also like kind of put your business hat maybe a little bit, and that also kind of helps you with the chameleoning of the exercise. But I like that's something that I'm going to remember a lot, because I think if I would have like maybe like even the thought of a chameleon in my head, I'm a very visual person, like that just really helped me, because I think next time like I'm gonna like remember to like chameleon, you know, I'm gonna visualize the chameleon when I'm like feeling the judgment, you know, and I can just be like, be a chameleon, you know. But I really like that. Okay, continue.
That's really good. The sweeping thing was definitely from a personal experience as well. And I something I didn't mention is that when I'm filming, something that Steffi knows is that I live with the community I'm filming with for a long time, like 1 to 3 months. So, and I live with the families, so I can like fully envelop myself, like, and just get completely involved. And so it's funny you said that, because I do try to like do chores. So I always say like, okay, since I'm going to be here for, you know, this amount of time, I need a chore. I want something to do when I wake up in the morning. You know, I just don't want to be sitting there drinking my coffee and everyone has their daily routine. You know, I want to be able to do something. So I took on sweeping in Borneo. This was a story in Borneo. And I'm like, I'm great. I love sweeping. I'm great at sweeping. I was like, just don't ask me to mop. I can do sweeping though. And my sweeping apparently was just not up to par. So like the first 2 days I swept the house, I didn't realize this, but like Dercy, my brother, would take me to go do something after I swept. He'd be like, oh, Ashley, let's go, you know, next door to the warung and eat something. And I would go with him. I came back and I'm like, my sweeping didn't look like this. And then I caught Desi, my sister, on the second day, re-sweeping my sweeping. And he was responsible for taking me out of the house so I wouldn't see her re-sweeping. I was like, oh my God, okay. And I looked there and I was like, how dare you? I was like, how dare you re-sweep? And obviously we have a lot of banter and fun. So she was like, you okay at sweeping? And I was like, well, then I just need to be better. I'm going to get better. And then the next day I like did it better. And then they finally accepted my sweeping habits.
And you went into sweeping camp, basically. Sweeping boot camp.
And I thought, I mean, it was always my responsibility as a kid at my house was to sweep. So I just thought I had a natural ability.
I hate sweeping. There's no chore that I hate more than sweeping. Like,
oh
man, the sweeper in my house is Majoon, and if he's not sweeping, and the Dyson ain't working, now we have a Dyson. It's a fake Dyson. It's like this like fake Dyson that I found here in Ecuador that's already broken. So it's definitely a Dyson. I call it a Dyson. So if it's not the Dyson, like this house could be like a dust bug, like bag, bug, everything. Like, you know, I could not. Like, I hate sweeping. Like, tell me to, I don't know, clean toilets. I can clean the toilets. You know, I can fold all the laundry. I can handle all the laundry. I can even put your laundry like inside. But no, I can't do dishes. Like dishes, okay. I can push myself.
No,
I can push myself.
I really have to push myself for dishes. Like really push.
Me too. And it has to be really hot water. Like really hot water. If not, it's not gonna work for me. How is that in van life? Don't you guys have like not unlimited water? You know, you guys have to like really think about this. So how has that like control and like perfectionism tendencies like gotten now that you live in a small space?
Exactly. Yeah, we've had to like kind of decide who's better at what. So I'm really bad at dishes, and
I think that's a strategy to survival.
Yeah. Oh God, the romance strategy 101. Who is better and then just like you do it, instead of like always being like, no, you do the dishes, no, you do the dishes. No, just one person does that, but then the other person like has to clean the toilet, it's just a one-off. And I'm like, I would rather wipe down the toilet. I am the toilet cleaner and the shower cleaner, and Tyler will do the dishes because he can do it with less water faster. So that's very important to us, as you said. And then I am just better at wiping surfaces, laundry, like actually I'm literally better at everything else besides the dishes.
On the other side, I was like, what am I good at? I was like, laundry. I'll clean the toilets if I need to. All the flowers, like keep all the flowers.
Oh yeah.
I keep all the plants alive. And I make us cute cups.
Yeah.
Great talent. But okay, wait, continue. I went on a tangent. Number 2. Thing number 2 that you keep in your hand, in your heart or mind.
Yeah, so I have to remember this. I thought about this. So like literally I have to remember that I'm a woman. And I wanted to talk about this because it is something that I have to remember, because like I'll be trying to do something, I'll be trying to get a man to interview, I'll be trying to like interview some really intense like corporate executives, of like a mining situation. I am a redhead, pale-skinned woman who, if I'm not wearing any makeup, which I'm usually not, like I look 12 for whatever reason. It's just my genetics. So it doesn't help. And so like whether that be to use that I'm a woman to my advantage or not, I just like have to remember, and then I have to like reset how I'm going to handle things and like think about who I am, because I can walk in, like I feel like in America you can walk into a room and just be whoever you are, and I am happy that it is like this way in a lot of places now, and I can just be the corporate person that I am. I am a businesswoman, I am equal, I am whatever I am. But when I am in Indonesia and there is such a like sexist difference between a man and a woman, I have to be very coercive. I'm going to say that word because it is what it is, and I have to be very convincing and use my womanly wiles to get what I need to get a documentary made. And I dare say it is what I think a lot of companies and investors think that I can't do because I'm a woman. They're like, you can't get the same interview a man can. I dare say I might be able to get a better interview than a man can, because men sure do like to have some open mouths sometimes in countries when they are talking to a woman, and they'll forget the camera's there if you can really just like convince them that it's not there, and use your just being friendly, like how to tap into emotions. Like it's something that you have to work with and you have to really like tune into and use, and I do, and that's definitely something that I carry with me and I use it.
Wow, that's so powerful. And I feel like this could also maybe tie into like the things that happen, like the scary things. Like have you ever been in like a situation where you were like, oh my gosh, like this is only happening to me because I am a woman? Like outside of like the investor camp, let's say like when you were traveling, maybe you were in like a documentary, or when you were sick, for example, and you needed to like get help. I don't know, like was there one of those moments that you were like somebody like, I've gotten myself into this situation because somebody took advantage of me, not like necessarily in a like physical way or at all. Like this question is like so crazy.
Because it can go many ways.
Yeah, I just like, I'm just like wondering, like, has that happened to you, I guess?
Yeah, that was one of our questions, and I have so sadly and thankfully, because there were learning experiences, I have many stories. Yeah, there was the question that was on our, that we wanted to talk about was the scariest moments I had. But the ones that directly linked to me being a woman is I have had someone break into my hotel room in India, and like had a really horrible, unfortunate sexual event, but not like, it didn't, it was awful, but like everyone has their own stories and some are way worse, but that one was really unfortunate. And then I definitely did use my womanly wiles, like, to get me into a spot to interview some very important people in my eyes who were illegally working with a Chinese mining company that had taken over this huge part of a rainforest in Borneo. And I was really deep into the jungle, and I had been working with the illegal gold mining, like, independent miners for about a week, filming them. And then I really wanted to interview the guys on top that were communicating directly with the Chinese executives. And it was all just like such illegal operations. And I got into this like a little hut thing on the water. And I was interviewing one guy, and then just like more guys kept coming in. And then they started pulling out the Iraq, like, and the Iraq is like a traditional rice wine that's very strong. It's kind of like a moonshine. You know, every country kind of has their traditional like homemade alcohol that's like 100% gut. And
Mhm.
that they
Yeah.
brought it in, and they were all just drinking, and they were like getting me to drink, and I really wanted to get the interviews. So the camera is up, you know, the camera is going, and I'm talking to this gentleman. One guy has already spilled his guts to me. I have no idea exactly what he said, because I get most interviews in the native language, and then I translate later, because that's what I think should respectfully be done. And I just had a really good feeling about it. And then these other two guys, they were trying to convince them. There was a lot of banter. They were like, "You do the interview," you know, like, and they were talking Indonesian. They're like, you do it. Like, she's our girl. Like, she's gonna help us. Like, she's got this." And I'm like, I don't remember exactly what I said. This was a couple of years ago, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm your girl. Like, I got this. You know, like, you can trust me." I was really trying to convince them. And then we sat, and we were just drinking more. And obviously that puts me in a very like, it never got fully uncomfortable, but it was not comfortable. And
Yeah.
especially when there's just that much alcohol involved, you know, and then the guys want to start taking pictures and stuff, and then they're putting their arms on your back and like on your, and there's no other woman there. Like, it's not a comfortable situation. Thankfully, it was fine. In the end, I left, you know, like, I got my interviews and got out. And these gentlemen, I'm friends with them on Facebook. I'm still talking to them. They're great guys. It's just like, when you don't know someone, I've known them for many years now. When you don't know someone in that moment,
Yeah.
we're just learned to always have that guard up, you know? We're taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. I think always as women, we're put in positions just um, where you're literally like just sitting there and you're like, Jesus Christ, like, if only my genitals looked different,
Yeah.
like, this would be so different. Like,
Mhm.
and it's just like so unnerving. And I know this is not the topic of the interview, so I don't want to like go into more, but
We could talk
maybe
about it.
we could do a whole other podcast on that. If people want it, they can like let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a number 3 thing you learned or you're carrying in your travels with you in your mind and your
Um,
heart? I would
yeah,
love to hear it.
it really aligns with the last one. Maybe my mind was just in the same space, but I'm probably gonna think of like 3 more, you know, and I'll email you when I leave in a couple of months to go on my next trip. But this one is to always have a contingency plan. Like, and that's that is just something that I like. You know what? That's kind of what makes it hard to have a team. It's the difference between like me being able to go by myself, because like plans change so fast. Someone might decide they don't want to be interviewed. I have to have an interview. I have a flight. And like, if you have a team, you're not going to get those spur of the moment, like people just popping in and realizing that's our guy. Like, we got to go for it, you know? Oh, I'd take that back. Unless you have a lot of money to work with, then you can change flights and do whatever the hell you want. But
Yes.
yeah. But working by myself and working with a low budget, I just have to be able to like fly at the edge of my seat all the time. So um having a contingency plan, having a plan B, like, and then having a plan C and a plan D constantly all the time. There's a lot of different cultures and ways people think where they change their mind a lot, and they might change their mind and say like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that," or "No, I didn't say I would do that." And you have to always be prepared for that, because there's nothing you can do. You can't like tie someone up and be like, talk to me on the camera right now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It's also very subjective. Like, you're waiting on somebody to be vulnerable and tell you that story. And like, what if, they've been thinking that they were going to be able to. And then once you put that camera there, they're like completely shut off, because it's really scary sometimes to have a camera, right? Like, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be recorded forever. Like what is going to happen to me if I have this recorded forever?
Yeah.
Because, the caveat is like especially the stories that you're telling now are so much more um I guess I don't want to say necessarily controversial, but I would say untold, that becomes that you are tapping into a lot of things that are secretive, or are not necessarily like easy things that you're just gonna like walk into and you're gonna find an office or like Google that's gonna tell you this story. So
Yeah.
there's also a lot of like political things and like just like things that you have like hoops that you have to go through. And I think that's something that people need to remember, and like with all the tracing thought and like the donation and like helping you, it's like we're kind of becoming your team. We're on the
Mhm.
ground with you, but we're not like estorbo, like in Spanish you say, like you're not like just like there kind of being like a hump on the road, like you're just
Yeah.
like giving the money, you're like there, you're sponsoring the girl, and like you're giving her gas to change that flight. So I
Yes.
like that. Yeah, I it's crazy, like this part of the moments. Like I remember we were working on your website and you'd be like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, so no internet for the next 4 weeks. And it's like, okay. And then Tyler would be like, okay, here's the content, it's just like, but I'm just so happy you have so many little angels in life, like we
Mhm.
all love you and we all just want to like support you. So
Yeah.
the next question is like the three scariest things that happened to you. And I know you just told us it was really scary things, so we don't have to talk more about scary things. But if there's anything that you wrote that you think that you don't want to talk about, tell me. I love to just hear all your stories, man. I feel like
Um,
I'm like in a movie. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have a podcast. I have questions to ask.
let's ask her like, what's the scariest thing that's happened? That's no, it's really I get it. I get it because it's what everyone asks me, honestly. And I understand why. Like, so the whole chameleon thing can also get you into a lot of trouble, because like you go in, you take away all your traditions, like so I've decided that I don't care what I don't like to eat or what I do like to eat. I'm eating whatever the hell is put in front of me. And so that always gets missed sometimes, because I'm in these like really deep indigenous communities where they are eating raw, unfiltered, unwashed things from the jungle. They're foraging completely like on a level of just like their bodies are so incredible. Like they're just so strong. They're so built from the inside out like rocks. I'm so jealous. Like I just wish I had it. I wish I had that. I wish I would like sometimes I feel like they're just superheroes and they can just pick something off the ground like a slug or something, whip it up under on a fire and just eat it. And so I do too. Because
And it gets me in trouble.
yeah, and then I'm like, oh shit. And so I don't it happened from like being in a river, so I was getting eaten by a lot of mosquitoes, and I definitely got a blood infection when I was in Borneo once, and it got really bad, and so I did have to leave, like emergency leave, because the police did not like that I was telling that mining story that I was just talking about, and I had to leave very quickly, leave very fast, and I did. And first of all, I made sure that everyone that was working with me was completely safe. They were also leaving the village just to give it a break period. But we all agreed we knew what we were getting into when we wanted to tell this story. And compensation to the locals on the ground are number one for me in making sure their health and safety is important. And so, because I can leave the country, they may not necessarily be able to. And so that's what I did. I left the country, but then I realized I was really sick and I was just getting more and more sick. And I left Taipei to meet a friend. That friend had to move on with his travels. And I was just getting more and more sick. And I was like, something's not right. All of these bug bites on my body are like turning into like really bad wounds without me touching them. Like really gross. I don't like talking about that part. It just like grosses me out. But I don't I'm not going to go to a hospital in a foreign country if like I'm not dead. Like I literally like I have to faint on the ground for me to go to the hospital, which is exactly what happened. And thank God I was on the street because this taxi driver and this guy like helped me. I don't even really remember, but they helped me get in the car and go to the hospital.
Wow. That was
Yeah.
insane. I remember this was exactly when we were working on your website and
Oh
all of
yeah.
a sudden you were in Taipei. I remember that. I was like, what is going on? And then you were like, yeah, I got really sick. I'm really sick, like whatever. And I was like, oh my God, Maynard and I were like, wow, we're working with like superhero, like we were like, this shit's real, like this is like for reals. Like, you're not just like telling like cutesy little stories anymore.
Mhm.
Because you did at one point, and we all
Yeah.
just go through those series and phases. But I think that have you I think going into your next, I guess, so when you went to Greenland, did you get sick?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so every documentary you
No.
go, you've gotten sick.
No.
Well, I was gonna ask you. So, what are you taking in your mind and your heart
Oh wait. Wait,
for
wait.
your next?
No,
But
no, I didn't get sick in Greenland. I'm
I
sorry,
thought
backtrack.
so.
No, no, yeah, I didn't get sick in Greenland. I don't know why I said that. I just
Okay,
got
that's
sick.
great.
Yeah, no.
See, I knew it. I was like, I didn't
Yeah,
think so. You should have got second Greenland.
no,
Okay,
no.
yeah, that was one of my questions. I was like, my question was, how is Borneo this next time? Like going back after like, all like you were telling, are you I guess maybe I don't know if you can tell me because I'm not on Patreon, but
Mhm.
like, is the story that you're telling in Borneo now different than the story that you were telling back then? Is it like palm oil now and you're focusing on that one instead of like the gold mining? And how did you get sick again? And what did you eat now that I know that you eat things and then you get sick?
Mhm.
But
You
then
know,
you got better, like just caveat, like you got better from like your blood infection and like you're a
yes.
lot better, but you did go through like a big scary health thing, right?
Yeah.
Last year
Yeah.
because of like the thing, right? Like repercussions in a way, no? Yeah,
No, that's a little
different.
different. Yeah.
Oh,
You know, we
well, we
want
don't
our
have to talk about it either.
no, it's just like I just like overall, I'll just do an umbrella like statement on this. We want our bodies to be so strong. And I mean, I think I'm pretty decently healthy. Like I cook at home like basically 98% of when I'm home. I really I really love fruits and vegetables. I just want to vouch for myself real quick. You know? And but I just don't know. Sometimes our bodies can't take what we want to put them through. And it doesn't mean I'm weak, but a lot of these film crews and stuff that go into these places, they take their food with them. They take food from their country and bring it. Even a
Yeah.
film crew that I know in Indonesia, okay? So they are in Borneo. They are an indigenous people from a Dayak community from West Kalimantan. They took their own food from this island to a different island in Indonesia to make a documentary about an even more intense tribe that like still doesn't wear top clothing or anything. Very beautiful, and they're still like painting, blood on themselves and stuff. They took their own food to go film this other tribe.
Wow.
Yeah, they took it was crazy. They were crates and crates of food for their film crew. And that just goes to show that it's just like what it's just a boundaries of like what our bodies can and can't do, what they're used to, what they're grown up with. And there's a lot of people in the world that I know can talk way better about this than I can. But I play with that a little like too much maybe sometimes, like with what I'm willing to try to get done. And I think it's something I can work on in the future because this last trip to Borneo, as you mentioned, was a slap in the face. And then when I tell
Tell me
people,
more.
yeah, everyone's like, Ashley, what did you eat? I'm like, great, I'm doing great. I'm in Borneo, I'm filming. I'm really excited. It was a cool, incredible trip. I was there over Christmas I've been adopted into this tribe, so I was with my family. And then I left my family to go to another tribe's ceremony for actually my godson. He was having a ceremony where he was being introduced into the river. I just posted about this on my Instagram page, so you can go check that out in Tracing Thought. And there was a huge ceremony, and I ate whatever was there because like it's a big ceremony, and I was like also a part of it. I was in the ceremony, and someone was really proud. So, it's so funny. Like every time I tell anyone what I ate, they're like, "Why would you eat that?" Even people in Borneo were like, why did you do that? Why did you eat that? And I was like, because it was an important ceremony. I'm not going to say no to something. It felt very important. It felt very like, I tried monkey. Yeah, for the first time.
Wow.
It wasn't
How
that
was
I like,
that?
it wasn't like, oh, I'm dying to try monkey. It was like there was monkey put in front of me. I was getting told a beautiful story about Muslims and Dayak like coming together and helping each other with this monkey that was taking over like all their fruit trees and stuff. And so they killed it. One of the monkeys that was apparently like you're allowed to shoot because there's a ton of them. It's not like an orangutan or anything. And then they eat them and like during ceremonies and stuff. So I'm like, oh, I would like to try this. Like it's part of the experience. And so I tried it. I had one piece and it honestly just tasted and looked like beef, like ground beef.
Yeah.
And but it messed up my heart, soul, and my system. Like I
Oh,
I felt an impact on my body that was very unique. And then when I got back to my Dayak family, they were like, Ashley, it's like you just ate a human. And they were like really unhappy with the people that I was with. And they were like, I was like, it's okay. Like, I'll be okay. Like, I'm just sick. Like, it's food poisoning. I've had it before. They were like, no, this is not good. And it wasn't good. I was like, oh my God, why? I was like, one little bite. And it took me down and I like couldn't have fans near me. So basically I like developed this other disease, they said, because I was sweating really, really badly. And I kept feeling like there was air being blown on me, but there was no air being blown on me. And I just wanted to be under a cover. And it was just like weird feeling. It kind of felt like my soul was taken over by something. Like I didn't feel like I was in my body. And so healers kept coming over and they were trying to like get it out of me, massaging my stomach. They were making potions. They were doing all this stuff. And I actually have a blog post coming out about this because I'm going to talk in depth about
oh my
one.
God. Can't wait to read.
It's detailed and it's about one healer trying to literally pull the bad, whatever it was, spirit out of my body. And I've already written it, so I just got to get it up and put some visuals to it. So y'all go check out my website and sign up for my newsletter.
This will be your inspiration to do so, to finish that up.
Yeah.
Wow, that is wild. Like that's so interesting also how your family reacted and like how they also like kind of like they were like, this is like a big culture thing, like they're like,
Mhm.
oh, she's not from here, like, oh my gosh, like also it was kind of like, oh, we need to like remember that she's not
Yes.
one of us necessarily, like you are one of them from like a soul, heart and everything, but like you are different at the end of the day, and like you don't know, like for example, like what it means or like the repercussions that it could have, like spiritually even, like
Mhm.
um doing certain things. Like wow, that's I can't wait to read this story, and like just I am so happy that you're okay, and that I don't know, you like kind of like learned another lesson, right?
Yep. Yep.
And that's why it was a slap in the face. Now I get it. So you had to leave there. You went there for not long of a time, and then you had to leave because you were really sick, or was it just your trip was coming to an end and you came back?
It was my trip. I booked for a month and a week, or a month and like a little over a month. And
Yeah.
I wanted to come back for before New Year's for family reasons because I was gone for Christmas. So no, it was just my time to come back, and it was inconveniently the fact that I got sick at the last
Yeah.
week being there. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's so crazy, but I'm so happy that you had your family there and that you weren't just like there like doing
Yeah.
like a whole other documentary, and like you weren't like in this random other place. Like you were there and you were, at least there was a space for people to hold you,
For sure.
Wow.
So
So
thankful.
lucky. Very
So
lucky and very thankful.
yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me a little bit about Greenland. Can you tell us a little bit about the documentary? I know that or tell us where we can find out more about the documentary
Mm,
as well. That could be nice.
yeah.
So yeah, give me a little bit brief.
Yeah, on my website, I do actually have a films page on there that talks about the films that I'm working on right now that are in the production or post-production process. And Greenland is the big one, the Mama Jamma right now for Tracing Thought that just raised around $50,000 for the summer expedition has already taken place, and there's going to be a winter expedition in 2024 to finalize the filming. I just need to wrap up a couple of more things because this documentary is huge and beautiful, and it is about the hunting culture of the northern Inuit people in the northernmost settlement in the world. And when I say hunting culture, it's their hunting culture has such a story right now, and because they are like sustainable hunters, they hunt for their families, and the government is regulating how much they can hunt and what animals they can hunt, and they're like have to provide proof of what they shoot and how they hunt and how much they catch, down to like every type of animal, down to like what equipment they can use, like the kayak, a traditional way to hunt for narwhal and fish, but mostly narwhal and seals. And they're not even allowed to hunt off a boat for those things. So,
Wow.
well, for narwhal. So it's a beautiful and really intense conversation between like environmentalists and people who are animal lovers, as we all are, and like shooting these animals that we think are endangered. These indigenous communities don't believe that they are. They believe that they know better. Their indigenous knowledge is not being listened to, not being heard. I have interviewed the government officials and I have interviewed local people, and I live with them and I go hunting with the hunters. And that's what I'm going to be doing again when I go back. A trailer will be coming out very soon. Sounds like April I'll be finishing that. And that conversation just needs to be more, I think, talked about like in a broader sense. Like I think indigenous knowledge needs to be like really respected and heard. So that's what that documentary is about.
Wow, maybe you have to come to Ecuador and do a little documentary here. Maybe you can do a little like short little bit and come see. There's a lot of indigenous um there's a lot of need for the indigenous voices to be heard in this country. We're a small country, but we have a lot of indigenous past and still people that are still here, but are literally being killed by companies who are, oil drillings. The way our government is right now is really bad. Are a lot of indigenous people that are not in the Amazon necessarily, but now water is a really big resource. Then we have other people. There's just like a lot of that here in Ecuador, and a lot of people that need their voices also heard. And I think a lot of stories that you'd be really interested in here. I'd love to host you if you ever do the research. You have a home here.
That sounds like something we're non-negotiable. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yes, please. So, and I know that you have a partner for the Greenland documentary. Can you tell me a little bit about that, just so that we can give that some air?
Yeah, we need to acknowledge Taylor. Taylor is a major part in the producing of this documentary. So she came to me. She works in studies in Greenland. It's what her PhD like research is about. So
What does that mean? Like
she,
studies?
yeah, well, she doesn't study there, like on
Yeah.
location, but she's studying about the culture, about the people, and she's still trying to figure out exactly what her story is going to be. But it does fall around. I think it's changed since we started this documentary because we're finding out so much more. And I think her PhD research is going to evolve around the hunting culture as well. And she is like, it's important to whenever you can to find a partner in business or in life that's good at maybe the things you're not good at, like we talked about with doing the dishes and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
so thankful for her because she's really good in a business sense, like in talking to people and meetings. I'm more like on the ground filming and such. And so she helped raise the money for this documentary. She saw like what I did, and she really loved it, and she was just such a supporter, and I love her for that. And she was like, I want to help you make a documentary in Greenland. And she was like, I think I can help you raise the money to do it. And I was like, boom, yeah. So we're both producers, and she's the lead woman on the production end, so like finding that money, and then she helps me so I can film this thing. And then she's also a photographer, so that helps because she has a little bit of visual sense too.
Incredible partnership.
Yeah.
That I didn't know that little story. I'm so happy. And I'm so happy to learn more about Greenland and just everything. I'll do even more research now that I'm like, in the intimate conversation. Okay, so we've been talking for an hour and I don't want to take so much of your time, but I know that we have like other questions. So you stop me whenever you're ready to leave me. But I would just like to give people a progression just really quickly of like, how did you go from, because for some people you may be like an inspiration now and you're like, wow, like she's working in these really big documentaries and all of this stuff. Like, sometimes I forget to like, sometimes we can be inspirations to people. Like we went to have this talk at this place that we couldn't even believe that we were invited to talk. And then someone came to us and we're like, oh my gosh, like you guys like inspire me so much. Like I have a note on my phone of like take 3 recommendations. Like I was like, holy shit. Or like, like these people like were like, oh yeah, like, when we quit our jobs, like we like looked at you guys and you guys were like, so creative and you guys were doing it as partners. And we're like, what? So can you give us a little bit of that progression of from college, like how are you here? Like, and I know that you don't have to go into all the details that you want, whatever you're comfortable with, but just give us maybe the breadcrumbs of just so that we have an idea.
Okay. Breadcrumbs. It started well, you say from college, but like I have to mention that when I was like 5 years old, 5 or 6, I was really into taking photos, like all the roses, at the park. Like, and then my mom would be annoyed because she's buying Polaroids for me. And like, I'd be putting them into like a little Barbie Polaroid, anyways, it started like that, like a lot of photographers do.
Oh my gosh, I love.
I knew I wanted to be a photographer, and then it morphed into like when I got around to 10, 11, 12, I was like, I want to be a war photographer, no doubt about it. Did a lot of research, was really into it. All I did was wear camouflage, like from head to toe, camouflage, like backpack camouflage. My locker was camouflage. Like I did all this research in war photographers, and that like came with me all the way into college. I still wanted to be a war photographer when I got into Pratt and went to New York, where I met a Steffi and May June. And
I love that. Yeah.
Well, that's where I met these guys.
He's like, you also met me.
Yeah. And so I changed from war photography when I was at Pratt because I think I just got inspired by so many other artists and I saw there was so much more to do. And I already had a college education. Like most people go into the military to help pay for that college education, and I got a scholarship and such. So anyways, just like all those, variables change your mind. And mine started to change. My husband was in the military. So I like also got a way deeper look into what military life was like. Didn't really agree with that. Didn't agree with a lot of the things that they do and like believe in and support. So I was like, I don't want to go in there. I could do this on the outside, aka like the Associated Press or like Reuters or something. And so I had all these other ideas. And that's what I started to do when I got out of Pratt. When I graduated from college, I started freelancing immediately as a photojournalist, and photojournalism was like all I wanted to do. That burnout really hit me hard, like in that year after college, like from all the criticisms, I just felt like I didn't really know like even what I wanted to take pictures of. I was like, I know I want to, but then I didn't feel like I was good enough because I just had all these different opinions in my head of 4 years of opinions like about photography, when it really should be this like really objective, just like thing that you can make your own mind up about. And that was hard. And I had been saving for a really long time to travel the world. And that's when that got really serious. I started seeing vloggers online and I was telling my husband, you're getting out of the military in a year and a half. I was like, we can save enough money. I was like, based on what I already have saved to do this. I was like, we can actually do it. When you get out, we could take a year off. And I was like, and do that. Like, we could just travel. And then I was like, we could do more than that. We could vlog. We could start a YouTube channel. Like, we could do that too.
And this was, just for the people who don't know the timeline, this was what year, kind of, just so that we can know an idea of like kind of like YouTube was growing up.
That was 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was 2 years out of college when you guys did that. So
yeah,
it was insane. I remember that. Oh,
we talked a lot during that time because y'all were blowing my horn and like shocking me because y'all were always sending me messages like, you're such an inspiration. I was like, what are you talking about? No, I'm not.
We were like, I remember we used to, like, I still remember this one vlog, like this one shot that you guys did of you guys had like gone, it was like this winter thing. You guys were in like I don't know if it was like Nepal or something, or India, I don't know, like, I don't know. And it was like snowy, and you like, Tyler was like there, and you were like in the other part, and you just like fly the drone, and you just see like this incredible like rocky mountainous like crazy region, and you guys had just been stopped in like the car, and like it was like super dangerous. Like I was watching it like in my big TV on like a Sunday in like Brooklyn, New York, you know. And I was like, I had just like, I don't know, probably like eaten Topanga, like, you know, and I was like, I don't know. So I remember those days.
And that still blows my mind. That still and it did not sink in for Tyler and I. Like, we got messages, we got comments, we had the nicest freaking people talking to us all the time. Like, oh my God, we're basically there with y'all. We love doing this with y'all. We love watching your vlogs. And I guess we just never really believed it ourselves. I don't know. It was definitely what do you call it? Syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, we just did not feel like we deserved to be like the YouTubers that we knew and loved. Like, we were really into Casey Neistat and stuff. And then like, we just were like, we're just doing this for fun, you know? But then I got really serious about it because I'm like, no, we can make money. I'm like, and I was trying to still freelance. Like, as I was traveling, I was always emailing the AP and stuff. Like, I'm here. I know this war is like in the next country or whatever. And I was still trying to work that so hard. And I felt very imposter syndrome. I was like, I wanted to be doing this. I don't want to be doing this. And people think I'm someone I'm not. And Tyler was just like, I just wanted to travel. And now you're making me vlog, babe. And I'm like, but we're so good. Like, we were good at it, I felt like. And then we hit 10K followers on YouTube. And I was like, we're doing it. And anyways, I'm sidetracking. But
my favorite sidetrack.
We moved to Bali after our 1 year was up, just to breathe and figure out what are we doing. And we felt like the most stories were there. And it was in the early years of when everyone was not so annoyed with Bali. Like, it was still in the cool, like, Bali is a mecca for online creatives. And it was really fun. And the tourism wasn't like, it was getting really bad, but it wasn't horrendous yet. As we lived in Bali for a year, towards the end, it got really, really bad. And we noticed it, and we felt like we were part of it, and we were getting frustrated about that. Tyler was like losing his mind over it. He was like, I don't want to be a part of this. We're destroying a culture. Like, we're doing exactly what we don't want to do. He leaves and goes back to the States. I'm like, I'll stay here and wrap up the house we rented out. I'm like, and then I'm going to keep traveling for Tracing Thought.
I remember you guys had this like little puppy that just like suddenly came to live with you guys. Remember?
Yeah.
Of course you remember your life.
We started to take in dogs, and when I say we, Tyler started to take in all the dogs that needed a home. And we were constantly fostering dogs and trying to find places for them. It was really cute and fun, though, like really fun.
Okay, so Tyler moves. You guys are like, okay. Tyler's like, I just wanted to travel. Like, now we're vlogging. Now we have a business. Now we have to work together. And now like this whole thing is like we're a team. I'm like, this shit's hard. Like, working with your significant other is for Olympics. Like, Olympians need to be able to do this.
Yes.
Like, this shit requires like mental strength, human strength, like muscle.
Yeah. No, there should be an Olympics for us, and then we should all just get up there with our partners, and like it should be like the game show of game shows. Like, they run us through everything.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't anymore. So, I mean, I would love for us. Can you do like ex worker couples and like
Exactly.
come back?
Maybe we'll do like and like kind of like Survivor style, and it'll be like ex working couples and current working
Yeah.
couples. It'll be like the battle of the working couples. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. Okay, but tangent. Um, so back from the tangent. So you guys are leaving Bali. You're like, okay, I'm like, I don't want to be this like what am I? Like I'm not this like little YouTuber. Like I'm actually a filmmaker. Like you guys don't understand like all the work that comes into these YouTubes. Like, but like I also want to tell deeper stories. I'm like, I don't want to just like be a traveling YouTuber and like, you know, ruin the world by like taking a million planes and going to just like 5-star resorts, because you could have definitely done that and that would have been great. I'm like, I'm sorry, but like I don't want to sexualize you, but you're so beautiful that like I would just love to watch you travel the world. Like just because I think like I love seeing my friend, and you're like, I think that that's something that all YouTubers have. Like it's like this weird like thing, right?
Yeah.
So that could have been so easy for you, and you didn't. And you, I think even like against like what I would have like, as a fan advised you, like you completely like you took everything down in a way, right? Like
Yeah.
how was that process? Like I remember it was savage. Like it was like savage move. Like and it was so good. Like I learned that that boldness really like also changed the way we have done things. Like when we launched Patreon and that shit like really like was not where we were supposed to be. And then like, you know, we had to pivot in a day. We
Yeah.
remembered like, oh my gosh, like people have done hard things. Like Ashley redid her whole thing, believing in her dream. Like, and we've talked about you multiple times because what it's bold. Like, so I just wanted you to tell us a little bit about that.
Like, you made me cry, dude. Thank
I know
you.
I was crying preparing for this, so it's fine.
Thank you so much. It still hurts a little bit because I mean, thank you. Like I didn't either you look back and you don't realize where you were, who you were, or what you looked like. I don't know. Is that just me? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you look back and you're like, oh, you didn't realize all these things. Like you're looking at your future self back. It's crazy to me. And at that time, I was just really mad with Tyler because I felt like we spent all of our savings to travel the world. We got something out of it, and we were so easy to make a career out of it. Like what you said, it was just like we did it. We did the hard work, and it was starting to happen naturally. And it was that point where you're supposed to be like celebrating, you know? And then I wanted to pivot the stories, like you said, into something more meaningful. We both were feeling a major guilt of being people that were just showing touristy places. We hated that crap and we were really getting tired of it. And so we did want to pivot the videos. Tyler agreed he wanted to pivot with me, but then he still didn't, his heart wasn't in it. So that was just, like we said, game show, like, because it was really hard. It was a really hard couple decision for us to walk away. And I knew that I didn't know if I was going to be able to withstand and do all of that work by myself and keep up with how fast we were doing it. And also it's nice to have a partner because then you feel pushed. You feel, and you have an opinion, a second opinion. I'm a person who just always doubts myself. Like I'm a Pisces and I'm emotional and I will look at something for 10 hours and I will talk myself completely out of it. Look back on it in 10 years and be like, Ashley, that was freaking perfect. Why didn't you put that out there? It's wild. And anyways, it was really hard. And thank you because that boldness was not easy. And I did pivot. I rebranded Tracing Thought. I didn't want to change the name because I didn't want to lose all my followers. And so I kept it Tracing Thought, but then I made a slogan, a deeper understanding. So basically I could retrace my steps in everything we did and traveled and then find out more and dig deeper and look into more things. And slowly that's become more about Indigenous communities because essentially that is what these traveling, I'm not blaming tourism or anything, but just as we grow as a world and we're able to go into different cultures more often and more people have the advantage of travel and can travel, which is absolutely wonderful and beautiful, there's a lot of downfalls and it's ruining a lot of communities. So I'm dug deeper and deeper, and then it led me to Indigenous communities and like how our like footsteps are actually way our footprints are way bigger than we even realize. And I'm trying to help you see that. And I'm trying to show you like how much it's affecting people in really dark, deep corners of the world. And that's what Tracing Thought is now. And yeah, I do it by myself. And my husband is now he's becoming a very successful musician. So like applause to him because
Who
he
released the song yesterday?
an EP, a whole
EP,
7
a
songs.
whole,
Yeah.
oh my God, whole 7 songs,
Yeah.
you guys. I'm gonna also put that in the links in the notes. Okay.
Okay, do it. Yeah, because it's huge. It's like really blowing up. It's hard. It's metal music, but there's some beautiful, beautiful sounds to it. You should listen to it even if you're not into metal. And it's hard for anyone to chase their dreams. And I'm really proud of him now looking back because I'm like, no, you knew you wanted to be a musician. You didn't just become a vlogger because it was easy. Like we both made a really hard move there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. And I remember, I think maybe the first stories that you started telling was like the recycling and like plastics and all that stuff. And I remember like, yeah, it's so beautiful to have been part of your life. So thank you for giving us that little snippet. Maybe you should, in your Patreon, maybe you should release OG Tyler and Ashley section. And then 100%, but it needs to be like $10 a month. So yeah, but $5 is fine. $5 is fine. Yeah, that my budget manager who sits behind there will approve $5.
Okay.
You put a Tyler and Ashley little tab.
I mean, I still get DMs being like, "How can I find this video? I know of you and your husband. Did y'all break up? Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "No." And actually, they're still all on YouTube. They're just hidden. So any day I could go unhide.
Literally, especially now that your YouTube is like, you know, not necessarily the place where your big documentaries are.
Yeah,
that could be a nice way for you to have SEO.
I'm
like
the Patreon idea. No, that's like gonna go because I know one of our questions I get to ask you advice, and I'm taking that as your advice.
Okay, great. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I have one last kind of ask from you is to tell us, as Tracing Thought fans, like, or ask people, let's talk to two type of like audiences. Let's talk to the audiences kind of like me who are like fans of you from like personal life and like know a little bit of you and like have seen your story. Like, what would motivate us to become patrons or donors? And then let's talk to a separate audience, for example, somebody who's just meeting you right now through Tracing Thought, and they are seeing that, for example, you're working in these documentaries, but are like, wait, she's not pushing out content. I'm just going to say this is probably what they think. Why would I have to support her right now? Like how, like maybe I'll just wait when her documentary airs and then that's when I'll support her. So talk to us, and what would you like to tell us, and how can we support you?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question and like topic, because there's this tangle nest of like this giant web of like Instagram, Patreon, like, oh my gosh, you need to be on everything. You need to be on Tracing That. You need to be on Facebook. And it's like, okay, but none of those things are really like what I'm doing. I'm doing something behind the scenes, and and it's because I came from like a vlogging, my social content relationship came from a vlogging like scenario. So to then turn it into a business scenario, it's an adventure, and it's still happening. But I would say that if I kind of forgot the first one, but the second one was like, if you're not seeing the content be put out, right? Like if someone's looking and they're like,
if like the two types of people. One is the person like me who knows you from a personal standpoint and like doesn't know why, you know, like kind of like we do know why, but we're like not maybe sufficiently motivated. Like, what is the little pep talk you would give us as like personal friends? And then the other one is for people who may know you just like brand new as Tracing Thought, and you're currently working on documentaries, and not pushing out content. How would you motivate them to support you?
Okay, yeah, the first one, pep talk. I just need my peeps to and I hate peeps, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I need my people to I would love for my friends and people who are on social media to just like, I just feel like there's not enough cheering of each other on. And it's like when you do, we all know the algorithm doesn't like it. and it sucks. And so like, how do you overcome the algorithm? You tell that stupid algorithm that that's what we're going to do anyways. And like, that's why they make those silly, they used to make those like little chat groups where people would get on and then be required to like support each other in those chat groups.
Yeah.
I do understand them because it just, you need to feel that, but also it's like other people need to see it. It's when people share your work that people are interested in your work. And it's annoying for me. I'm going to just like be vulnerable for a second because I do want my friends and people who are watching me all the time to know that it's very frustrating for me to see the numbers spike when I post a picture of myself or I talk to the camera as myself. And you and me, June, have said this for a long time. Like, we know that the numbers spike. Because we've worked together, you know, on Tracing Thought so many times, that when I show myself, and I always hated it. I think it's very frustrating because I'm trying to share these really important stories. And I guess I'm being stubborn in a way because there's a lot of independent journalists out there, females and males, who use themselves and to get those stories told. So they're like using their face to like guide people into the story. I just want those stories to be good enough. I want those people to want to feel connected to those people. And by golly, I'm going to keep doing it. But I am starting to like bring myself more into the picture a little bit. And I just want my friends and family to see that and support it and share my stories, talk about my work. And if it means something to you, I would like to know it. I would like to know, what are you feeling from this? Like, do you feel connected to this? Okay, how? Why? And then I can use that information to then better Tracing Thought in the future. So just don't be afraid to talk and share and DM me and chat more, because we call each other and we chat about our personal lives, but I would love to hear more about Tracing Thought ideas and thoughts.
Yeah, that camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm into it now. Persona number 2.
Number 2, Steffi, what was it?
I love her.
I remember.
Just the person that's meeting you just right now as Tracing Thought, like they
Right.
they really don't know anything about you, and you're not necessarily pushing out a documentary on YouTube every 2 weeks. So how do they feel motivated to support you?
Like, why would they want to get involved? Well, I kind of agree. Like, I wouldn't want to go just give someone money if I'm not going to see something from them other than once a year, like a big something. I'm talking about like not just posts on Instagram.
Yeah.
I know for sure. That's why I built Patreon. You know, that's why that is like a safe space where like I can always just be like, I'm not going to be giving finished product there. I'm just going to be giving like van tours I did on my phone, but I edited with some fun music, you know, like, let's just have a good time. Let's see each other and know we're both working towards our dreams. And it is kind of like a Take 3 community, like kind of like what y'all do, but it's just me, you know, and it's the people, but a lot of people don't come there for that. So Kickstarter is like, when I put out a Kickstarter now for a documentary like Greenland, and you donate to that, there are a lot of perks you get. So like, you'll donate to the Kickstarter, and then in a month you would get a newsletter. And I send out a newsletter once a month for anyone who has donated to the Greenland film. On the first of every single month, you get a newsletter from me. They've been going for like 8 months now, and it's an update. Right now I'm doing story times on things that happen there. And then in 2 months, you would get behind the scenes video. In 3 months, you would get this. So with Greenland specifically, if you want to donate to the hunting culture and that conversation, you will become a part of that community where you get things regularly in your inbox. And then with Greenland and Tracing Thought as a whole production company, you get on Patreon, and then you will get more content and feedback that way.
And what are some of the things that you do, let's say monthly? Like, you host a little like live every month on Patreon, right?
Yeah.
So tell me some of those things that you do, like on as a community basis, let's say, on Patreon, that people could find if they donate, whether that is $2 or $5. Let's say like the entry, or $10 would be great, because you know the fees of Patreon. So $5-10 better, even more, even better. But just what are some things that they could see once they unlock, let's say, that feature?
So they're going to get lives, you get all of the past things. So everything becomes available to you. And I did do a poll about 2 months ago on Patreon asking, like, because I wasn't having a lot of people show up on my lives. And I was like, okay, do y'all like these lives? I asked the community. I was like, or would y'all rather me do like a catch-up video and for 5 to 7 minutes just talk about what is going on and catch you guys up on everything? And actually, people voted to have a catch-up video. So when I was in Borneo, I did a whole catch-up, like what is going on here, what's happening. And I did like behind the scenes of like Christmas Day and the traditions there. So you get to see those things. Also, if you are part of a certain tier, I send you merch. So like you get to represent Tracing Thought, and my t-shirts and tote bags and everything is eco-friendly and I love them to death. Anyone that has them, like, I'm not meaning to brag, but they always say it's like their favorite shirt. And
I'm not saying that we didn't help with the branding, you know.
no.
So and the other day I was actually seeing that proposal for that t-shirt. So go buy that t-shirt, people.
Yeah, it was like beautifully done in the back. It's like has all the countries listed. It's amazing. It looks amazing. And then obviously the logo that Take 3 helped me do.
And the tote bag is like so sturdy. It's like great for like grocery shopping, like when you're traveling, super spacious. So
Yeah.
it's really great. So another way that they can support you, and if they're not like, you know, I'm not sure about her, I don't know about her Patreon, I don't know about all of these things, like I'm lost, go onto TracingThought.com, and in the shop, they can just directly buy these things from you,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Right.
That would be great. And like they'll be like, okay, I want a t-shirt for my brother, a tote bag for me, and I want stickers for my water bottles. And they can
Yeah.
find all of those things there. And
Yeah.
that's really awesome. And then you can also find a donate button where you can like directly donate to you,
Yeah.
just like a big amount. Let's say like you're like, okay, I don't need all of the perks of Patreon. I just like want to give her one-time support. You go in there. You can use credit cards from everywhere in the world, I
Yeah.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
And you can donate as much or as little as you want one time. I believe you can even make it recurrent. There's like a little like checkbox there. So
Yeah.
go check it out.
You helped me set that up. You did that.
Exactly. So tracingthought.com, people go into that website and just like find all of these things, because I think sometimes it's really hard when you're trying to sell, like in the community, you're trying to sell, for example, like, oh, these are all the perks, these are all the things that you get. And then when you get into there, you're like, nobody even shows up to the lives, you know, like, what do you guys even want? And it's like, oh no, I just like, I watch them after. Or, oh no, like, I would love if you could answer this specific question for me. And it's like, okay, but then submit the question. And I think what's really nice that we've implemented in Take the Uni, for example, is we theme our lives. So for example, like in the live Q&A, it's like, we talk about Instagram or like Instagram updates, and we talk those 45 minutes, and any questions that are related to that, we put it there. So because we found that it was really hard to like categorize them, because I was like, how are people going to find like these questions? Like this is like so random. So when we moved into Podia, like taketheuni.com, when we pivoted from Patreon to the community, and then Podia actually released a community where you had like categories and whatever. We actually started theming all of our lives. So when you go in there, they all have like specific titles, even if they were like personal catch-ups, remember, like burnout or whatever.
Right.
They're all like kind of themed. So it's like easier. And I'm glad that you're doing these catch-ups, because I think that's something that people really want to see. And like we loved from like the YouTubes and all of this stuff is like getting this behind the scenes, like personal, like, oh, this is what she's doing, which I'm really happy to see. But okay, so I think you've convinced us. TracingThought.com. And then the last question goes, it's connected to the social media advice, which is when you were in Take 3 Uni, in the community, one of your perks is to have one-on-one sessions with us. And we worked with you when you were in the banana story. And I remember that. And something that we talked about, like we've mentioned before in the podcast, is that, or you just mentioned as well, one of our advice was like, can we see a little bit more of Ashlei, like the person behind Tracing Thought, without making it necessarily about you. And I remember, like you said, like, you know, a little bit of this hard-headedness in a way. And I completely understand like that hard-headedness from a creative standpoint, especially when you own your own business. Like, I'm like, no, like fuck everybody. Like this is my guts and this is
Yeah.
what I want. Like, and I'm gonna stand by it whether I die on this hill or not, whether I make
Mhm.
$100 or not.
I would
And
rather
that's
be
how I
poor.
feel about Take Three Uni. That's why I'm like, you know, that's why
Yeah.
Major is like, that's why we have to build websites.
Yeah.
So we can have your Take Three Uni going. But or develop brands, whatever. But
Yeah.
so my thing is like I have seen improvement and I have seen you push yourself out of your comfort zone, and I noticed it a lot, and I see it in your close friends when you went to Borneo, because I love that even if we were there once, like we're there forever, and your close friends on Instagram at least, because it keeps me like on my toes. I'm like, oh, I have to donate. So I really like that. But I just want to ask you, and I see how you like sometimes sign with Ashley and stuff, and even in your captions, I've really been liking that. So I just want to ask you, how is your relationship to social media right now? How do you feel? Like, think that you've learned a lot, not only from like keeping your business alive and having to get investors and donors and like all these documentary things, like just all of that and all the knowledge that you've now carried and having to escape multiple countries, whether that is from like legal troubles or like health sicknesses or whatever. Like you've lived a lot of lives since like our last one-on-one session. So I want to ask you, how is your relationship with social media? And this is your time to ask me for advice. So shoot.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm so happy that I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, that you can like see that my relationship with social media is getting better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Because yeah, that goes through its ebbs and flows. And my problem with it was that everyone thought they were talking to Tyler the past several years. I mean, I still get DMs like, "Hey bro, like how's it been going since you were in India or whatever?" And since vlogging, an assumption. It was always an assumption. Like I edited all the videos. I've always edited all the videos, and Tyler's more great with the music stuff, and the scores of our vlogs and stuff before. But they just always assumed that it was a man. It was always Tyler at the front. And they still assumed that. So that's why I was like, okay, I need to start showing my face more a little bit. Okay, I need to start signing everything off with Ashley. I got a lot of good feedback during the Greenland, like when I was putting out the Greenland documentary and stuff, where people were like, what are you? Like, are you a, like, I don't even remember what they said, but they were like, what are you? And I'm like, I am a production company. I'm like, okay, I need to be more clear about that, and that feedback is what I was talking about. Like I could use from my friends all the time, like just like friends, just like tell me like, hey, I think you should do this. It might look better. Like you and me, June, do that because you'll just love to do that, and it's in your heart.
No, and Majin would, and I think Majin, as he's listening to this episode right now, he would say, no, it's Steffi does that. Like, I am the type of person that I find somebody's work on Behance, and I not only find their website, so I can give them a link view, and I also find their Instagram, and I send them a DM, and I tell them that I found their work on Behance, and I think they're awesome. Like, I am that person. Like, that's why it takes me so long to do a mood board for a client, because half the time I'm just like pumping other people up, and Majin is like, yeah, Steffi would do that. Like
Yeah.
that. I live off of it. That's why I have to make a business out of it.
And I'm not saying to be as insane as Steffi. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm saying like be more like you. I'm just like a little bit, like 2%, just hit a DM every once in a while. Be like, oh, this post was amazing. I have no idea if people liked my recent posts about the Meek Monday river ceremony that I just posted about with my godson. Like it was all weekends, and I love it. I feel very beautiful about I'm connected to that story. And I had one person who I was talking to a lot about it, but everyone else, just no one says anything. That's what I'm saying. And oh my god, I forgot the question. That's a big tangent.
So, how's your relationship to social media now?
Yeah. Okay.
It happens to me all the time. That's why I just go on tangents confidently and I just don't come back.
I would have kept going, but then I really couldn't remember the question. So, but that I'm talking about it. My relationship is great. I have decided to live by a slogan. It is something I should have adapted a lot earlier. I think I did try a couple of times, but this one's like really working for me. I don't know why. I just need to be more selfish in the world, and it's do it for you. I was doing social media completely for everyone else, like all the time. Besides, like, knowing I should have switched away from vlogging, you know, and not showing myself, I was literally just trying to do what made other people happy. And it was frustrating me so much because, as y'all know, I think we've touched on it, like, I didn't want to be doing those things. So all I was doing was just sitting in a circle, going back and forth with myself, like just hitting a bunch of walls. Because I'm like, I don't want to be doing that, but that's what is good for the algorithm. So I just said, screw it. I've been posting photos lately because that's the mood I'm in. I don't have time to be making reels. I'm making a trailer right now for a documentary, and I love these photos. And then I took film cameras to Borneo, and I'm like, film doesn't really do great on social media, but you know what? I don't care because I want to be shooting on my film cameras again, and I want to get back to that soul that I'm reaching for. And that is my relationship with social media right now. I'm doing everything for me, which is tracing thought, which is what I want to do. So that's what you're saying.
And I do want to say one more thing, that
Mhm.
I think you have to continue going with your gut, because photos have to come back to Instagram. It's the only app where you can do it. And what the fuck are you gonna do it on Twitter? Like, that's so lame. Come on, people. Like, nobody wants to see cute things on Twitter. Like, I know y'all are trying to make that thing better, but that's just a trash can fire, and we can just leave it be. It's the trash can fire of the internet, and that's it. Like, Reddit has its own space, Twitter has its own space.
Mhm.
Instagram has its own space. Like, we don't, like, for the people who don't love reels, that's fine. We don't need to make them. But the people who love, like you, to post and publish photos, like, you want to go horizontal, girl, go horizontal. You want to
Yeah.
post your videos on horizontal and reel, post it on horizontal and reels. Like, and I think that's what we tell people in the community, because, or in, not in the community, sorry, in the one-on-one sessions, is this is about you. Like, this
Right.
is 100% about you. If you, and like, I don't mean it to be like you need to make this everything into a personal brand or like an influencer story. Not at all. I just mean, like, if we're not doing things that also tickle our fancies, then what the fuck are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
how are you going to continue to live as creatives on platforms that live off of, and we're created to create instant moments that connect with others? Like, if it doesn't make you feel something, if you're not telling a story that also you are happy with, then
Mhm.
what is the point? Like, if you're just like constantly following this like calendar, and like, I have to post 3 a day and I have to do this, like, then what is fun about anymore? Like, I remember in the pandemic, a client told me, like, oh, you're so good at Pinterest, maybe you should sell that service. And I go, if you monetize everything that you do, then what the fuck are you going to do with the rest
Yeah.
of your life?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but no. So we tell people, use Instagram as your journal. Use Instagram as what makes you actually want to be on there. If it doesn't make you want to be on there, then why are we doing it?
Right.
And if you like more to write newsletters, then let's work on that channel more. If you
Mhm.
like to tell stories via your voice, then let's work on that. But if you're just simply scared to show up on stories because you've never done it before, then you can start with not recording yourself, just talking to your phone. You know, I don't
Yeah.
know, like
Voiceovers, like those.
starting with like just sharing parts of your voice on it without sharing your face, and you're
Yeah.
sharing something else. I don't know, like, there's so many ways where you can like kind of like manipulate the channels to be what it is that you
Yeah.
want to feel comfortable with, that it's just a shame when we kind of box ourselves everywhere we go just for the sake of making everything monetizable.
Mhm.
um so I really do appreciate that of you. But now it's your time to ask me for advice.
Yeah.
So ask me for advice.
Okay, I wrote down a couple things. Um,
I love it.
mm, yeah, yeah, to piggyback off of that, everyone also keeps telling me to post on TikTok, and I'm like, that's not. I don't care if there are beautiful journalists on TikTok. Like, I mean, they're beautiful stories, like sharing those stories on that platform. That's not a platform that makes me happy. That's not a platform that I want to be a part of necessarily. Like, and I just don't want to go there. And like, they're all sending me these messages on Instagram. It's just like so funny to me. It's like they're watching my stuff and they're like, "Oh, you have to post this on TikTok." I'm like, "I just posted it on here. Like, engage, look at it, like it, press the heart button." Like, why are you asking me to go put it on another platform for you? Because that's like, I know they're asking because they think I'll be successful, and I appreciate that, and that is the feedback I'm looking for. But that just one comment, I'm like, guys, I really don't want to get on TikTok. But I guess if enough people tell me to, maybe I'll be convinced. So we gotta just keep talking.
No, okay. So this is my answer to your first. I guess your advice question is, should I be on TikTok? Like, what do you think? Is that my question? Is that your first advice question?
It is. It was like, what do you think? Because I feel like it is the people need such quick content to like soak in so fast, and TikTok is giving that to them. And I'm wondering, what do you think about this whole attention grabbing thing?
I would personally say, thinking about it for your brand specifically, not to get political or governmental here, but it is a Chinese government-owned app, and they basically own all of our data. And you are saying a lot of things that are not necessarily going to make people happy sometimes. If I would have say that somebody or something had to have a TikTok that had to belong to TracingThought, I would say it would be very small, itty bitty, almost day in the life person behind production. Like, here, like, this is my day. I sat on the computer for 8 hours. Like, they're sarcastic, you know. The next post is like, here, I am a producer and I am a one-woman show. And even though everybody thinks I'm a man, this is what I do. I'm, you know, creating this in my really hot dress. I don't know, right? Or like, I would kind of maybe see it like that. And I think Major would be a great person to ask his advice from, which is why we do one-on-ones together. But I would say that if there was a place for TracingThought on TikTok, I would kind of put it in that way, almost like the sarcastic women creator behind a little bit of like fun maybe. But I don't know if that's necessarily like what you want to portray yourself. And I know that you have really big guts, and I don't want you to, if enough people tell me to do it, then I'll do it. Like, I would rather you go to YouTube Shorts than TikTok, right? Like, I would rather you actually be on YouTube Shorts and like utilize the YouTubes that you already have and make mini short versions of it instead of even doing Instagram Reels. Like, I would rather you invest in Shorts, or in Shorts itself, talk about the production behind and who you are, or whatever. Like, maybe that's where it belongs. But I think YouTube Shorts would be a much better place for you than TikTok, especially because of all the government stuff that we know TikTok has. That I think YouTube Shorts is going to be making really big splash. I think so. I think it's one of the only apps that you can control the forward and back, and you know that you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to actually consume, and I'm going to actually invest. Like, when I sit on my YouTube Sundays, like, I told my dude today that maybe that's why I was sleeping this morning, because I didn't have a Sunday. Like, I didn't watch my YouTube Sundays. So I didn't have a Sunday this week, so I'm like all messed up. But I think that's the app where you go in and you actually want to consume, and you're invested in the people, and not necessarily just the people, but in the content that you're being given, and you're not expecting more out of these YouTubers. Like, I don't expect, for example, Eamon and Beck to post on Instagram. Like, I don't, because they're on YouTube. They tell me they're going to show up here, so they show. Like, if you're going to be on Shorts and you're going to tell me you're going to show up on Shorts doing this small little thing once a month, then I would love to go see that. Does that make sense? Like, and make it vertical and like just be on Shorts.
Yeah, so consistently.
Exactly. Whatever that looks like, and whether that is like even minier versions of what's already on YouTube, just to give me teasers of the mini trailer, you know, I would love that. Like, that's awesome. Like, I would definitely go on Shorts just to watch your awesome, beautiful things. Like, those are creatively done. They actually teach me something. So yeah, I guess, or like, you know, how you used to tell us like how you edited, or like what I remember one time you showed us like how your file looked like in a way. And you were like, oh my God, it's like so hard. Like, look at all these files. Like, not even teaching us anything, but just showing us that. Like, that is something that I think people are really liking more and more, because that it feels like it's so easy, but it's not easy. And more people want to see that it is hard to do these things. Like, it is hard to produce. Like, or it is hard to come up with a documentary idea. Like, it's not like I'm just sitting here and I'm like, oh, you know, what country or what continent, or you know what thing sounds good. Like, I mean, how about Greenland?
Yeah,
it's like something interesting, right? Like, right. So I think that's where I would go.
That's so funny to me, because I don't want to, is it insult? I don't want to insult people for posting things that, I just think that some of the stuff is obvious, right? No? Like,
But I don't think it's obvious. I think that most of the times as creatives, we block ourselves and we literally cock block ourselves by thinking that what we do is obvious and what we do is easy because we're talented and we happen to do this.
yeah.
And then another thing that I thought about that I think Meijun would say would be, why do we have to go into and I would say to Meijun after he gave you the idea of the shorts, why do we even have to go to a different platform? Why can't we make just some of this TikTokable, shorty content and just be public on Patreon so that people go on Patreon and they have something to consume and then they actually have a reason to hit that pay button. Does that make sense? Like that's my dream in the community. My dream is to have a public category in the community where people can come and almost watch like a YouTube-esque version, because I am so terrified to like start a YouTube that is actually around my personal life, because what if I just want to change one day, you know, and like I don't want this out there. And having this online in the internet makes me crazy because I already think that everybody's gonna come kill me. So I have too much anxiety for that. So I would put like, for example, our home tour behind, you know, our community. But then I would love to have like, you know, pieces in my home that really are meaningful to me, like a little chat with like my ceramic piece or like Meijun's freshman year project, and like have that be public, but be on the community. Because that's where you're going to make me money. So why would I give you something in like YouTube, even though Stephanie from the other side would say like, well, you're going to need some sort of like other eyes, because what are you going to sell this on your own forever?
Yeah, because YouTube already has the eyes. People are already going there. So yeah.
So you'd maybe want to do like the shorts version. So that's what I said. Like if I were to go on YouTube, I would maybe go on shorts and make miniature versions of what I would put on my paid or take3uni.com little thingies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then I'm like, I have dreams with my YouTube. Like I have a whole plan, but I want to be making a little more money because I want to bring someone else on to help me do that plan, because I want it to be really like cool, and I don't want to give that plan away because I don't, you know, want to put it out in the universe yet. But I'm like, okay, when that plan happens, then yeah, that would naturally move over to YouTube, you know, shorts and do that. Right now, it's just like too many things, too much going on, and then. But that's great advice.
Then you have to remember that everything is content. Everything is content.
Yeah.
Everything is content. And so you have to remember that.
Yeah, until you stare at it.
You can't wait too much. Like I tell myself all the time, like, oh yeah, when I do this, like when Take 3 Vitamins, our product, like our advice library comes out, I'll be able to do this and that and that. It's been 2 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like sometimes I sit and cry and I'm like, oh my God, Stephanie, can we just like do it? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the pre-production. Like, can we just do like an Instagram live?
Yeah,
like,
just
can we just do something? Like, it doesn't need to be a crazy thing, you know?
I feel that a lot. Yeah, I do.
So if one day you feel like just like doing it, maybe put something out there on shorts or put something out there on an Instagram reel and see what happens. And if you want to take it down, you archive it and you're done.
Yeah.
Just like you did with your vlogs.
Yeah, I like it. I like that advice a lot, because just getting someone to tell you that is helpful, you know? It's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What do you think, like as a whole with your clients and community? This is the only real question I think I have, because the other ones got answered. But what do you think that they like are struggling with the most? Like what do you see the most people struggling with all the time? Right now, I guess.
That's a great question. I would say from the studio side, in terms of our clients who come to us to build a digital experience like a website, or whether that is to start or redesign their branding, I would say that like their logos and their identity. I would say that the thing that they struggle the most on is for the website, it would be they've always wanted to do it and they always deprioritize it because they think it's a really big monster. And they will not be able to keep up with because they've had such traumatic experiences. And I think that's a thing that gets constantly repeated. Like they've had such traumatic experiences with like even just trying to get in the website world. Because of course WordPress has great SEO, so they control a lot of the market. So it's so hard for people to like, I think, really get into website life,
Yeah.
that I think they get really traumatized. So I think that's the one thing that they struggle with the most. And in terms of branding, I would say that they've they probably already tried to do something or they developed something and they don't think that they're good enough to advance whatever
Mhm.
visually they would like their brand to look like, because they're not think they're there yet. Like they think that they need to be able to make X amount of money in order to redesign their brand because a logo is too expensive. And it's like, okay, but like, what is more expensive? Like, is it being like, how are you going to be able to tell your story if what you're showing is not what you want to say? Or
Yeah.
like, you know, when you come in and you have a branding already and you want us to do a website, and then it's kind of like you want me to put like a whole new set of like build you a new house, and then you use like all this vintage furniture that doesn't go with it. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
what are you trying to do? So I think a lot of the branding web clients really struggle with that, like believing that they're worth that next step. One, either because they've been traumatized by having to spend the money and then not being able to do anything with it, or they don't think they're big enough yet
Mhm.
to give themselves like the visual lift that they craved or they wish they had.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
had
would say.
that problem.
And then with the uni side, I would say that most students struggle with um, they know that what they have is really valuable,
Mhm.
and they really want to put something into it, but they are feeling really I think I would say not necessarily beat up or sad or like conflicted um, about they've tried and they've tried and they've tried and they keep falling short of, and it comes from a place of not enoughness and like unworthiness, that then we associate with the effort that we're putting into our digital channels.
Yeah.
Most of them are in the digital channels because they're like, oh, I started this newsletter, I have 500 people, but they're all like, you know, spammy bots. Or, oh, I am on Instagram, but it was my personal page, and like I don't know how to convince my friends that like I have a business now. Or I don't want to post on my personal page and I have a business page. How do I grow that without making that about me? So I would say
Oh,
that would
yeah.
be really, yeah, those would be like really big. And then others would be just like, I've been working at this for a long time and I don't make any money. And those would be more on the creative side where they are like charging $30 for an illustration that takes them like 12 hours. And because nobody taught us how to like I think like bill ourselves. I
Mhm.
think just having other creatives that are like, no, you're worth more. Like, okay, like what do your expenses look like? You know, like, okay, you're spending like $1,500 on this. Like, maybe let's cut down on like the Canva account and also the studio account and also like the Squarespace website and also this, and just
Yeah.
having those other people that are going through it, literally giving you that advice, I think is the thing that's the most helpful for people on uni. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you
That's
for that question.
No, that was good. That's good advice too, like for anyone listening and for myself.
Yeah, I think we just most of the times we're like we really cockblock ourselves. We're really like our worst enemies, and because it's so much easier for our brains to go into negative thought processes than positive. Like
Yeah.
it really has to take like I think that's why the monthly like booking yourself like a monthly session like helps so much, because you're constantly receiving like, oh my god, like that's great, like you finished this, you finished this, you hit this, like that's great, like you're doing awesome, like look at all that content that you created, like look at all these things that you did. Like most people don't do those retrospectives with themselves. Like Major and I hold all hands, which basically Major goes and sees everything we've done and he writes it out and he's like, okay, on the studio we did this, on the uni we did this,
Yeah.
even if it was like we posted this, like just doing those retrospectives and being like, we did this, we hit these, we like, where are your goals? Like, how is that going? Like, yeah, I'm feeling really devastated at the fact that the advice library hasn't gone out. Like, what can we do instead to fulfill some of that heartache? You know,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, that we just have to be our own cheerleaders, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's just really hard.
I do the same thing with journaling every day. So like I put down like what I want to get done that day, but then it doesn't have this in my journal, but I write it. I'm like, what did I finish yesterday? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just the satisfaction of writing out all the things that you finished the day before, even if it was just like getting a post done and starting that blog and then like working on like your emails. Like it's just like you freaking did stuff. Good, you're moving forward. You know,
Yeah,
you're doing it.
exactly. Exactly. That accountability is really nice. Like
Yeah.
just making sure that we are really nice to ourselves as well. I think
Yeah.
it's key. It's the only way to continue forward because we're also so demanding. Like we're
Yeah.
human beings. Like you said, like we can't expect our bodies to be able to catch up with all the things that we wanted to do. Right. Like we also need to make sure that we're giving it back and being like, hey brain, thank you so much. Like, hey heart, thank you for doing that one post. Like, wait, like maybe you haven't sold all these products, but look at all the money you've raised for causes. Like, you haven't done this, but you have done this. And Majon's great at that. So I really learned a lot from that too. But yeah, so
that's helpful that you have someone there too. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, 100%. That Majon and I sometimes say we're like, I remember when you were somewhere before going to Borneo the first time, and you were like, oh, I wish, like I remember, like I just see you guys and like I just want to have that other person like to look at in this like bunk bed, even if I'm sick, just being like, I'm doing this, like I'm doing great.
Look at me.
Yes, like look at me. Like today I came, I was watering the plant, and I was like, oh, you're looking so good. Like look at all these new leaves. Like, oh, you're doing great. And Majon was like, oh, thanks, babe. And I was like, oh no, it was the plant. I was like, well, you're doing great too. You're doing great too. Great job on that vlog. But yeah, like honestly, this was like the most amazing time that I've had, and let's make this more often.
We could talk forever, dude. Yeah.
Ever and ever. Yes, and if more people have more questions about it, like I'd love to do like even more like story times with you, like to continue to support your Patreon and stuff, and just like bring more eyes and just believe in yourself. You're never shouting too much. Like that's why sometimes I sign up to these annoying people that sell courses on Instagram. Not courses, like I follow this one girl, her name is like Shine something, can't remember. And I signed up to her newsletter because she sells so much that it just reminds me that like I'm not speaking loud enough.
Yeah.
Like this woman is telling me every fucking week, she's in my inbox reminding me that I have to buy her stupid ass video course. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not selling loud enough.
Yeah.
I can do this too. Like, so if that's what you need to do and like sign yourself up to like something that's gonna remember, like they remind you that like just these people are doing this. Like, why can't you do it too? So do that. That's my third piece of advice for you.
That's good. We should do another podcast where we talk about women that do that for us. And we bring like 5 to the table, and then we could like talk about them, and like we could just talk about maybe take a women poll of like what people think that we should talk about.
Yes, I love that. Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everybody that's listened to this amazing conversation, and I love you so much.
Thank you.
You're gonna everything that you wish and you dream of will come true. I promise. Just give it time. Allow yourself time, because we can't always just hit all the things that we want to do. We just need to give them time to cook too.
Yeah, just let it roll. Vice versa.
Yes.
I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you too. Thank you so much for coming. I love you. Bye, friends. Bye.